We've got a major injury update on Devils netminder Jacob Markstrom, courtesy of head coach Sheldon Keefe, and we will chat about what that means for backup goaltender Nico Daws as the Devils move forward in this season. I'm Ryan the Gosiker, your host here on Devils Digest, bringing you all the greatest content that we can find for the Devils. So I want to give you a chance before we get into the program to be one of our first subscribers here on Devils Digest. So hit that subscribe button. We'll get right into the show. Now let's get into it. There is some major breaking news regarding Jacob Markstrom, the Devils goaltender, their prized possession from the 2024 offseason, potentially a saving grace for GM Tom Fitzgerald. He is back. He is back in the lineup. We received this tweet earlier today. Jacob Markstrom activated off injured reserve. Nico Daws no longer on the roster. Head coach Sheldon Keefe confirmed he will start against the Vegas Golden Knights. Just a huge break for the New Jersey Devils, something that they needed. Now, that's not to say that Nico Daws hasn't played well, because he has. And just looking at this tweet from Trey Matthews, who, by the way, is very well respected, and his Devils coverage is top notch. So if you want to go check out more of his information, sure. Obviously, we want you here on Devils Digest. But Trey lays it out perfectly here in terms of what Nico Daws was able to do while Jacob Markstrom was away. 2-0, .83 goals allowed, 2 shutouts, I believe, in that time frame. And he gave up only 1 goal to Utah as well. And he says he's got 1 shutout in this time frame. Regardless, doesn't matter. Jacob Markstrom is back, but Nico Daws provided quite the bridge, I would say, to get to Jacob Markstrom back. Between him and Jake Allen, they're splitting. I mean, the Devils were 6-5 without Jacob Markstrom. I was trying, before we got into this video, I was trying to sit there and say, what are the Devils doing? How were the Devils doing without Jacob Markstrom? And I kid you not, they went win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, all the way to a 6-5 record without Jacob Markstrom. Now, we mentioned in a couple of videos prior how important the Four Nations tournament was, because you didn't miss 2 weeks. You're talking about potentially 8 more NHL games he would have missed had the Four Nations tournament not been there. Now, they would have had an all-star break, so, a couple games here and there, but realistically speaking, you missed 2 full weeks of game action. But the Devils needed Jacob Markstrom back, as they're bound to make this playoff push here in the Eastern Conference, which has just tightened up at all angles, right? Everything's tightening up. Teams are making trades before the March 7th deadline. That's 3 p.m. as well. So expect more videos coming out of Devils Digest with plenty of rumors and when Tom Fitzgerald eventually makes a deal, because they think, listen, at the end of the day, if he doesn't make any deals, somebody's going to be calling for his head at the end of it. But nonetheless, it is going to be great to have Jacob Markstrom back in net. You see this came from NHL, their official Twitter account. It's good to have Jacob Markstrom back. It's great to have Jacob Markstrom back. I don't want to minimize that at all, because he is exactly what the Devils needed going into this season. He's been a stalwart for them. And honestly, in my opinion, he's playing the best hockey of his season going into his injury. So it was frustrating for Jacob. It was frustrating for the Devils. A really weird play. If you don't remember, it was against Boston, and his skate got stuck in the far post. And so when he went to move, his foot was kind of like lodged in there, and not foot as in like a normal foot. But the skate was lodged against that pipe, and then the leg got straightened out, and eventually there was contact from a Boston Bruin that made it a very scary scene at Prudential Center. I remember sitting up there in my seats in section 132. Shout out to the fellas and ladies up there. It was numbing to a sense, because you could see the struggle and the pain and the agony to see him skate off on his own power. I almost said walk off on his own power. I'm a football guy, used to be a football player, so I'm used to walking off on your own power, but to see him skate off on his own power was just insanity, honestly. It was just super insane and surreal for all of us to see there at Prudential Center. Devils obviously went out to win that game 5-1, but there was certainly a dark cloud over it, and we didn't know. We didn't know how much time we'd be missing Jacob Markstrom. and what that would mean for this Devil team. Now, do I love the fact that they were 6-5 in his absence? I don't love it, right? There's plenty of games in there that they should have won and that they could have won that would allow them to be even in a more comfortable position. As we've been looking at some of the numbers, and it's been reported today that the Devils need roughly 20 points to have a higher than 90% chance to make the playoffs. And I believe if they get to 23 points the rest of the way, they're virtually locked into a playoff spot. So, exciting times in Newark. Jacob Markstrom back certainly helps the odds to get to that 20, 23 point threshold. Obviously, the Devils are shooting for much higher than that, but you have Columbus right on their heels. However, Columbus is on their heels, but Carolina's been slipping a little bit too. So the Devils are still in play for that second spot in the division, which would mean home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. So that could be very important. I know it's important as a ticket member and somebody who wants to buy playoff tickets. So it's this team getting Jacob Markstrom back elevates their level, right? I think that as currently constructed, they are ceiling without Markstrom, without Siegenthaler, and without any trades. My thought it was their ceiling would be Carolina in round one, and Carolina would advance to the next round. I think with Jacob Markstrom back, he elevates them to a potential second round berth. I think getting Siegenthaler back, hopefully here in a few weeks. If there's any major updates, obviously we will hop on Devil's Digest and let you know ASAP, as quickly as we possibly can. Okay? But, and we're still waiting to see what Tom Fitzgerald does at the trade deadline. So all these, ingredients, right? This is like a homemade dinner, right? We're pouring a little bit of this, little of the paprika, a little bit of the garlic salt, this, that, and the other thing, right? Trying to piece it all together. The Devils need their pieces healthy. And one of them, a major cornerstone for them in Jacob Markstrom, is now back. He's back as your starting netminder. We'll see how he looks against Vegas, see what he can do, how well he moves here and there, left and right, and is he comfortable? How does he look? And certainly, hopefully, in a few weeks, you're getting Jonas Siegenthaler back, plus the guys that you acquire at the trade deadline is Tom Fitzgerald. That's on him to really get that done. But the purpose of this video is to give you the grand old great news that Jacob Markstrom has returned to the Devils and is their starting goaltender once again. And it's great to see. Fans got to be so happy. I know I am, right? I can only imagine what you're feeling at home listening and watching this Devil's Digest episode. But again, I just want to make sure that we're clear. Nico Daws did one heck of a job in net while Jacob Markstrom was down. So he deserves his flowers. He's going to go back to Utica. Utica's fighting for a playoff berth, which they started the season about as horrendously as you possibly could, even worse than the Mets typically do. And yet somehow they're fighting for a playoff berth. Nico Daws will be a valuable asset to them. However, the valuable asset to New Jersey is Jacob Markstrom, and he is back for the New Jersey Devils for their game against the Vegas Golden Knights. So I look forward to seeing what he looks like the next couple games, because I would imagine he's going to get 2 of the next 3, Vegas, Dallas, and Winnipeg. Those are monster teams, monster matchups. So I expect Jacob Markstrom in net for 2 of those, and he is against Vegas. So I would love for all 3, see how he's, kind of getting the wheels back underneath them. But we shall see. But Devil fans, Jacob Markstrom is back. Get into the comments. Let me know what you think about that. Do you love the fact that Markstrom's back? What do you think of Nico Daws? Do you think this is a guy potentially for the future as Markstrom gets a little bit older in his career? What do you think about Nico Daws and his future? So leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. And as always, let's go Devils. And right here on Devil's Digest, I'm your host, Ryan the Gosiker, here with you, trying to bring you the best and latest Devils content. So I hope you enjoyed the video, whether you're just listening, whether you're watching and listening, whatever you may be doing, however you may be consuming the content, we appreciate you, and we hope you continue to tune into Devil's Digest. So we will catch you next time, and we've got more and exciting trade rumors and stuff like that, and more updates as well. So stay tuned, and everybody have a great day.